But perfect. So let's get right to it. Talking a little bit about interviewing and strategies of what we can do. So, what I was thinking today is basically, yeah, to go through a few interviewing facts. I tried to outline a bit like the the different processes in interviewing phases. So I tried to structure them like in phase one, 1.1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that. That's what we're going to have a look at. We're going to look at the 5 C's of interviewing, and we're going to also talk about the elevator pitch and doing maybe a little bit of an exercise as well. Um, Maybe to start with, I would love to hear from your side actually. What do you think is important when you are going to an interview? Um, can you name me one, two things that you think are important when it comes to interviewing?
I think be confident and like have good eye contact.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good points. Great point, actually, Shelby.
I think
Anybody else? Yeah.
researching the company just to make sure you're aware of who is interviewing you.
Absolutely. Very, very good point. Anybody else?
Maybe fluency and the tone of voice.
Uh-huh. Yes, true. Interesting. You're naming quite interesting facts actually. If we are looking a bit at interviewing facts, and some of them you have already been naming, it's definitely uh, coming for like nonverbal cues. So that's something that you have been already naming. But definitely one of the most important things is the first impression. We talked about this a bit before. It's quite crucial. Like first impressions are often made like within the first 30 seconds to 5 minutes. So it's something that really includes like people looking at body language, at punctuality, for example. So that's something that is totally in your control, let's say, when it comes to punctuality. But also when it comes to body language, like you can practice having, for example, role plays and so on. But it's important to know that the first, let's say, 5 minutes are quite crucial. So it's important to prepare yourself, okay? There is actually studies showing that 55% of like a conversation is made of nonverbal cues. So what you just mentioned, like eye contact, for example, posture, facial expression, it is quite interesting how that can influence an interview. And obviously, positive body language, such as, let's say, nodding or smiling, that can make you be seen more favorable, yeah, when it comes to interviewing. So it has sort of associated with people having confidence. We heard that already, like in the beginning from Shelby, but also having like more enthusiasm and also being more reliable. So make use of that and practice your nonverbal cues. That's something you can literally do also by looking yourself into a mirror and practicing interviews. It's quite an interesting exercise. Don't know if anybody has ever done it. Feels maybe a bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but it's interesting to see how you look like when you're speaking yourself. Okay. There is obviously the cultural fit and soft skills, which are increasingly important. Right now, also the market, I would say, shifts more in that direction. People finally also have understood that, well, we hire, let's say, more for attitude than only for hard skills. So we're really looking forward to find people like with the right mindset that are adaptable, flexible, and that's something that you can also work on and obviously concern yourself with if you're looking at somebody's, like a company's culture, their values. You can really see, does that align with what you're looking for, what you value, and what is important to you. Okay. And then, interesting thing sounds very banal, I would say, but follow-up questions really indicate interest and engagement. Studies have been showing that people or candidates that are actually asking follow-up questions, they are viewed more favorably, and that makes sense because obviously it shows that you are curious, that you have been concerning yourself, and that you want to know more. However, there's still a lot of people not doing that in interviews, so I would really highly recommend you like pick out some questions, concern yourself like with the tasks, and ask these questions. It's also good for you to understand better really and to know more. There is one thing when it comes to confidence, and Shelby, you mentioned it in the beginning, it is important, like when you're going to interviews, for sure. However, I think everybody understands it's a situation that is not, let's say, natural and convenient for everyone. So there could be a bit of nervousness, or people who really have also a bit of interviewing anxiety. Preparation really reduces interview anxiety, and it does improve confidence. So that's also definitely what we can learn from research. So it does make sense to do your homework. It does make sense to prepare yourself. The power of storytelling in responses. So that's definitely something that is also important when it comes to interviewing. So candidates who actually use like the STAR method, or what I would say is a method to answer to behavior-based questions, they are often viewed a bit more favorable because their answers are more structured. And I'm going to talk about that later on as well. And then we're coming back to our favorite topic, like our cognitive biases. Everybody has that. Research obviously shows, I mean, there is a lot of biases going on generally, but I would say the most important ones are like the confirmation bias. So that's basically people looking for information that is confirming their initial impression, but also the similarity bias. Yeah, so it's about favoring candidates who resemble somehow the interviewer. When it comes to interviewing, not everything, of course, is going to be like in your control. However, if we look at those interviewing facts, a lot actually lies within your control. I would say first impression, definitely you can have an influence on that. How you appear, how you go there, how punctual you are, how organized you appear, and so on. You can practice storytelling, and I'm going to explain you later on how that's going to go. You can really prepare yourself, like you can do your research. It's going to help you also to feel more confident. You can definitely research in terms of like cultural or a company's culture, and as well like how that could match your career aspirations, and sort of point out the important parts. You can prepare follow-up questions, and you can even practice, let's say, nonverbal cues, right? Like how you look like also when you are in an interview. When it comes to cognitive bias, sure, we cannot influence other people's minds. However, I mean, knowing that there is, for example, a similarity bias, it can also help you to somehow find connection with interviewers, right? Like if you know about that, you can also try to see, okay, maybe, I don't know, you have been living in the same country, maybe you have been studying the same thing. So maybe that will create already a first like connection point in an interview. So you can use that to your advantage. If we are talking about the interview process, I'm just gonna push this a bit more forward. I would definitely structure that in 3 parts, okay? So there is the pre-interview phase that we have been discussing a bit beforehand, which is more about branding, about the job search, about your application creation, right? Usually when we are talking about interview preparation, we focus a lot on this first phase. As well as probably the second phase, which is like the interviewing process phase. So it's like where you are actually sending your applications, where you get your invitations, where you do the interview preparation, and then when you are actually like in the interviews itself. And then, of course, there is also a last phase, like the third one, which is a bit like post-interviewing. So it's when you are at offer stage, like how to secure the job and so on. One thing that is less talked about, I would say, is what I call the phase 1.1. So it's like the pre-application phase. It's just like in the middle of when you are actually creating your application and before sending them. So we're going to have a look at all the different phases and some strategies of what can actually help you. Okay. So moving to the first phase, if we're talking about the pre-interview strategies, that's definitely something we have been discussing when it comes like to terms like branding, like making yourself visible, searchable, LinkedIn, priority number 1, right? Optimizing the keywords, like having a high quality CV and cover letter is also really quality over quantity. So I do recommend you like have maybe one CV that you can send to different places, like a general CV, But for the ones positions that you're really like wanting to get into, it does make sense to really tailor that resume to the company and make it more individualized. Okay. Don't forget the power of also spontaneous applications. You can basically see it a bit as a networking opportunity, I would say. Just because a company doesn't have a position open at the moment, it doesn't mean that they are not going to hire maybe in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So recruitment is a very fast business. Things can change all the time. If you identified some industries, some target companies that you're interested in, connect with them, even send your CV, even do like these spontaneous applications, reach out to HR asking if there's maybe going to be a position in that industry open in the future, because once they know about you and they know that you exist and that you're interested, it will be easier to come back to them once they are actually hiring. Interact with company content online, show also recruiters that you are engaged, and log your activities. What I mean by that is really like try to find a structure for yourself of how you can track your interviews. Okay, so these are just like really basic, let's say, apps that you can use if it's like Hunter, Job Hero, Teals, or even like an Excel sheet. But there is nothing worse, and I can promise you that, when a recruiter calls you and is going to ask you for an interview and you don't even know for which position you applied to. And believe me, that happens like many times. And I understand that it's difficult to know about all the processes if you're applying to 200 positions or whatsoever. But it's good to stay on track, and these tools can really actually help you just to have that overview and to feel ready. And you can just open it, you can Google the name whatsoever of the person, so you really know what it is about. Looking at, let's say, phase 1.1, once you really arrived to creating your applications, what is it that you can actually do before you send it anywhere? So I want to start with something that we know as for networking. It does make sense to focus a little bit on that and doing it strategically. So for this, I just wanted to do a little game of true and right with you. So I want you just to read the following statements, basically, and let me know if you think that they are right or wrong. So do you believe that networking actually accounts for up to 85% of jobs filled? Yes or no, or T or F, whatever you want to, or you can also mute yourself since we're not that many, or you can put it in the chat. What do you think?
I'm gonna guess, I don't know about the 85%, but I'm gonna guess true.
Yeah, anybody else agrees? So definitely this one is true. What about referrals increasing hiring chances by up to 10 times?
Also, that one might be true.
Maybe it's true. Yes, exactly. It is true. What about information interviews leading to opportunities 1 in 12 times? And if you don't know what is an information interview, it's basically like reaching out to people, asking them for like first information. So nothing yet official, but more to just gaining the main parts of something, of an interview or position. What do you think? True or not true?
The statistic might be higher than 1 in out 12 times. So I believe it's not.
It's actually supposed to be true. But you might be right. Maybe it is even higher. Let's see. What about networking leading to higher salary offers? Do you think that's true?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. So it actually is also true, and it's really I would say it's also expandable a bit by the similarity bias. So once people are actually referring you, for example, or they're saying, "Hey, this person is coming from a network," Like even hiring managers will get biased and will think this person probably has better skills, is better matching the role, so we can also offer them maybe something more. So it does make sense to have connections. The next one, I push this forward, is also true. It's really a strong network can even improve your job satisfaction by up to 80%. So it's not just for everybody else in the sense, but it's also for yourself. Like stronger connection will really help you to also be able to create the job that you want within the industry, and you're going to have more support and more help. So this is really, really important for you. And the last one, I think that's quite clear now after the goal. It's true as well, like networking really expands the access to hidden job markets. So if we're looking at just these simple facts of networking, we can really understand that it makes sense to spend some time with that, right? Like you could get more easily into a job by networking. You could have more job satisfaction. You could get more opportunities, more growth development, and also really, unlock hidden resources that you might not know about. So if you have a great network, you might even know about jobs that are not yet published, not yet posted. Like if you're in close touch with recruiters, that can be something that can really, really help you to stand out on the job market. So if we are talking about networking, it's really what I mentioned in the beginning. It's not about quality. It's not about quantity. Sorry, it's really about quality. I really think that the most important thing is to spend time to create bonds, right? And it's not just about you having the feeling like you're contacting people to get something out of them. It's more really about creating meaningful connections. Okay, you're 100% going to benefit from that. And it's also interesting sometimes to go through your existing network. So it's not just about creating new ones. It depends like how it is on your side, but to really go also through your existing network and see, okay, who are these people? Can I maybe reestablish a connection here? Where are they? To really identify people that could help you on your path. If we're talking about target groups, and connecting with people for networking, one thing definitely is to also check, let's say, for recent alumni, even from your own university, who have been starting their career like in different industries and jobs. So these would be the people that you can also easily connect with if you're not yet. That also can help you. You know, these are like probably fresh starters in the position, so that are the ones that are most likely wanting to also help you. They have like all the information from the recent interviewing process. So they have been successful, let's say, in a company's eyes. So you can get a lot of information from them. On the other side, it's really what I mentioned in the beginning as well, like connect with recruiters in different industries and from different companies, befriend yourself with them. They can really help you to get a lot of information if it comes to the role, to the position, even for the industry, even if it's for salary averages and so on. So it does make sense to reach out to them. Of course, generally people like in the positions that you are interested in, you would be surprised that many people actually want to help and even take the time for a, I don't know, 5-minute, 10-minute virtual coffee break to tell you more about what they're doing. People love to talk about themselves. So use that to definitely get information and connect with people in the industries and positions and roles that you're interested in. Also, something that you can definitely do is identify, for example, hiring managers for certain roles and positions, connect with them, ask them for these informational talks. You would see, you know, on LinkedIn job posts, like who is posting this position. You will see on LinkedIn if it's a hiring manager, if it's a recruiter. Connect as well with hiring managers. Tell them, hey, I'm interested in your department. I would like to know more. Do you have time for 5 minutes? And that can really help you also to get ahead of, let's say, a huge application line if they already know you and they already see that you're interested in what you're doing. I put here reflect and reframe because I hear a lot, also as being a career coach, of people, I've been doing this, I've been studying that. However, I don't really feel I know anything. So a lot of people have this impression, whatever it is that we have been doing, that we don't maybe have the right skills. The idea, I think, when it comes also to networking, is to really reframe a bit our mindset and look at our experiences as like a very valuable part. Like it makes you the person who you are. It is really about having like real life examples. That's what we are interested in when we are talking about hiring managers and also recruiters. Like that's what we want to hear. It doesn't matter if it comes from your studies, from your personal experience, or wheresoever. The idea is that you can really showcase where and how, in which scenarios you have been using the skills. Okay, so I think we just have to reframe this mindset of thinking you have to have a specific role or a specific experience to add value. No, you as a person already add value to anywhere you go because you're unique with the skills that you have and the experience that you already have. And definitely talking about the mindset, I would say it's quite important just to think about using networking not as something like it's a must, I have to do it. It feels like overwhelming, but actually going there with the mindset of creating meaningful connections, okay? Adding interesting people to your life, like literally not just online, but also offline. Wherever you meet a person, it's like an opportunity to go and network. You don't know who knows that person, who knows that person. Like everybody's supposed to know each other over like 7 contacts or something like that. So really use this opportunity to connect with people, talk with them, exchange ideas. And definitely, I would say real life conversations are still very, very valuable. If not, they're becoming more valuable because we are so much like online. Moving to this sort of pre-application phase. So this is really strategies I would say are very important even before you are sending your CV. So it's about your networking, being proactive, like reaching out to people, all these people that we just were talking about, trying to get a connection with them. Ask employees of certain companies when you're talking with them or reaching out, creating like a bond, if they maybe can refer you, to a certain position. We already know that people are a bit more biased when it comes to referrals, and they are seen usually as more strategically better suited for certain positions. So there could be a win-win situations. Many companies also offer like referral programs or like compensation for people to refer. So try to get your internal advocate like within a company, try to get to know someone so they could refer you, and it also helps you to be higher up when it comes to the first applicants. Timing is very, very important, as I mentioned before. Like, be fast. Like, if you have specific industries or companies that you're interested in, set yourself alerts. It's really the first 24 to 48 hours that are also important when it comes to the application process. Like sometimes in recruitment, it can be, that they identify the first 3 candidates and then they do like a candidate freeze until they are at the end of the process. Like usually we wouldn't start with more than 3 to 5 people because probably one already can get hired from there. And since we have sometimes, to fill very many different positions, we have to strategically also plan. So it's very important to be like, let's say, under the first applicants to not be first selected to go maybe in a second row of applicants. Okay. And then again, really befriend yourself like with the recruiters, like reach out to them, try to get information from them. You can even ask, about any hiring plans like for the future. If you're interested in a specific company, for example, same as per hiring managers. Like this is really something I would highly recommend you to do before even sending your application. You can also do that after you send it, right? Like if you know the people that are hiring, if you know the recruiters, if you have been identifying them and you send your application, send them also a quick message like, hey, I applied, didn't hear anything from you, like maybe in the last 5 days. What's the status, and so on. So that's just going to help you also and to show that you're really interested in it. And then, of course, prioritizing a bit your applications for yourself. Like you also have only a specific amount of time. And I can understand that it can be quite overwhelming, like to apply to a lot of places, but like really prioritize like what's the most important for you and where you want to spend the most time on and maybe put the most effort, because you maybe cannot follow up with each and everyone, but maybe from 10 companies that you have been applying, like focus on 3 to 5 and really try to follow up and ask for feedback, ask for what's the status. Like that's something that can really, really help you to get actually the first interview. So if that has been successful, and hopefully it will be, and you have been invited to the first interview, there is definitely a couple of things that we can look at when it comes to the interviewing process. So we call it more or less the 5 C's of interviewing. So it's like five different aspects that interviewers would also question you on, basically, or look at when they're interviewing you. So most important, I would say, also these days, it's really about your character. Okay, so it's about people now really hiring for attitude, and they are training for skills. So that's something I can see a lot on the market at the moment, that many hiring managers, they would rather hire someone with a great attitude, like being open to learn, especially if it's like candidates coming from university, maybe only with first experience, but someone who is really open to invest also in a company, right? Instead of someone who maybe has all the hard skills, like all the skills that are needed for a certain, or technical skills for certain position, but maybe is not as flexible or adaptable when it comes to learning new skills or maybe retraining. So that can be a huge advantage for you, like showcasing your motivation, your drivers, your values, and also that you're open to learn new things, because that's ultimately going to make the difference. Cultural fit for sure. So that determines definitely how you're going to adapt, like in a company's environment. You can have a look at that. Again, check out really the values of a company, what they're doing, how socially engaged they are, and so on. And really make sure to also ask these questions like in an interview, okay? Because it's important for you as well to understand if that aligns like with your career aspirations and what opportunities they can offer you. Same as when we go to the career direction, right? Career direction is really to understand what are like your long-term career goals and aspirations. And that's what also interviewers are going to ask you. I mean, it's a very, I think, old question, but there are still people asking like, okay, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? I would be just transparent and honest about like career aspirations, even if you don't know them yet completely. I think times have been changing. People are changing. Career aspirations change. So it's more about understanding a bit maybe what you're passionate about and where you want to go, and that you're willing also to take or to make the effort to basically get there, right? So when it comes to career direction, I would just be definitely like transparent, and also focus on what the company can offer you. Like ask the questions like, what are like career paths within a company? How do you do that? Like how do you actually support your employees, to go there? What's your internal mobility rate, and so on and so on. So this also shows that you're somebody who is invested in actually career growth, and that you're interested in it. And it's also going to help you to identify if it makes sense in certain companies maybe to invest more times or not, because nobody wants to be stuck, right? Like in one role until the rest of your life. So definitely a key part. And then, of course, when it comes to competence, it's really more about the technical skills. I think here everybody knows we cannot be perfect. Like we're humans. Not everybody can have all the skills, not even all the skills that maybe are listed like in a job description. However, I think the most important thing when it comes to competence is to be self-aware. Like we'd rather hire again like some people that maybe don't have all the hard skills, but they have the right mindset, but they also do know like what they're good at and where they actually need to still ramp up, right? Once you understand like, okay, maybe I'm really good at like communication skills, like interpersonal relations. However, my negotiation skills, like for sales positions, are not yet on top. So what can I do? How can I overcome this bridge? Like what resources are there like in a company? What people could help me to actually move forward and to add like more value and to share knowledge between each other. So that's something you can expect. That maybe there will be like some technical assessments, but again, I think showing that you're flexible, that you're adaptable, that you're open to learn new things, and that you're especially just interested and genuinely interested in acquiring new skills is going to help you even to bridge that gap. And then, well, last but not least, like when it comes to communication skills, it's really, crucial. I mean, obviously, to be able to somehow speak fluently, we're gonna see a bit what I mentioned in the beginning, how you can structure also your answers like in an interview. But for sure, to practice like open-ended questions, to articulate yourself like well, that's things that you can really do to prepare, even if it's like in role play games and so on. But we're just gonna jump into a quick exercise where we can see also how to introduce ourselves. Okay. Any questions to this, like in terms of the 5 Cs or the interviewing part, or is it all clear? Rather clear. Okay. Good. Perfect. Then let's move on to basically the elevator pitch. So once you really go to an interview or even when you're networking on events, career fairs, and so on, I mean, people will ask you to introduce yourself. So I think you surely have been hearing about that. I mean, it's about 30 seconds to maximum 1 minute getting across like some key points, one or two, and really making a connection, like sparking interest with someone. When do you use it? Again, it's really, you can use it in your CV introduction, in the LinkedIn About section, when you have first interviews, in an elevator, if you're happening to meet somebody that you're actually really interested in or you always wanted to connect with. Why is it important? Because it helps you in a structured form to really communicate like a value, like your certain value from your brand, your ideas, like it can help you to make a really strong first impression. And we already know that that's very, very important. And also obviously help to engage people. So what are the key points when it comes to the elevator pitch? So it's definitely about like clarity. So starting with like, who are you? Introducing yourself, engaging the listener, like maybe using somehow a compelling opening line, to grab attention, to pose even a question like to your other side. Explain what you do, like describe quickly your experience in that sense, just at the moment, not all of it. Make it brief. Moving to your value propositions, definitely highlighting like the unique value that you bring, like your unique selling point. This is maybe a solution to a problem that you can solve. Relevancy, so definitely tailoring an elevator pitch is also not static, so it depends on who you want to connect with, to basically tailor the message to your audience, and ending like with a call to action. So something that will engage people, that invites them. For example, I love to discuss like how we could work together, like could we set up a time to talk further, etc., etc. So that is something that is quite important and is going to really help you to make a strong first impression and bring across some valuable points in a short amount of time. So here are like, I mean, I just put 2 examples basically of an elevator pitch. Like for graduates, I will actually send you this in the chat, because at this point I would say let's go into a breakout room. Maybe Georgia, you can create one again for like 10 minutes to just have people actually develop their own elevator pitch and to to maybe come back and share. So I think we still have
We don't
a
have
bit
much
of
time. This is what I was gonna say. So because
yeah,
yes, there
we
will
have
be
to.
also
Okay,
some concluding remarks from the head of the
yeah,
department. So we need
at least.
all of us to be aligned because they are doing
Okay,
the same workshops
okay,
in
yeah,
person. So
okay,
let's break out for
perfect.
like 5 minutes. I know it's not enough,
No,
but for
it's
you
okay. I
just
mean,
later on to finish off for another 5 to 7 minutes. So
I
let me
think
make, yeah.
if or otherwise, I can also suggest, I mean, we can move on and everybody can take this exercise with them home, like to really do
Yeah.
that and maybe spend more time. And maybe then we just have like 5 minutes in the end if there are any other questions.
Up to
What
the
do you think?
students if they want
Yeah,
to practice now and have it reviewed by you while you're
let us
here.
know.
Like, I know it's going to be short, but it's up to you guys. You decide whatever you want. So the question is, do you want to have like 5 minutes to prepare a short, a draft, let's say, of your elevator pitch, or move on with the rest of the presentation and you do it later?
For me, I think I would need more than 5 minutes to come up with something.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, me too.
Okay. All right.
Same for me.
I think I want to try right now without preparation and test myself.
Okay. Anyone else? Let's vote. We're losing time, so let's be fast. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes only.
Okay.
So let me open. Okay, you're moving now. You're gonna move to the rooms.
So I'm back. So Georgia, we have to do like a full stop at 2, no? That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I don't want to rush things,
Yeah.
but they will pretty much close everything, and I want to be aligned with the closing as well,
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
students here. But I am in communication with my colleague now who are in
Mm-hmm.
person.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. Don't worry about, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, it's fine as well for me. I mean, we can just basically see where we
yeah,
could advance a bit. I think it's not much left. No, I mean, it was more for them to have more time to practice because I think it's difficult to develop it in 5 minutes for sure.
yeah, for sure.
But I just have basically the STAR method or like behavior-based interviewing left, some tips for interviewing, and that's it. I mean, the rest I think we can skip. But let's see.
How many more slides you had left? I think I saw like 7. You were on 42 or something?
Yeah,
43.
I'm at 43 basically now, and I think it's only the next 2 ones are the next. Let's say we could have the next one, and the rest I can advance like just to move to the there's one more like for this one basically where it is about interviewing and just general tips for the interview preparation, and then I think we can move to the end already,
Okay.
so we can do that rather fast, but or we can also skip that and just
No, don't skip it. Let's go about it, and it's fine. I'm gonna text them once
yeah,
we are ready. Okay?
yeah, I mean
Unless I got a call or a text from
yeah,
from
no,
my
it's
colleagues
okay.
that they need to ramp up.
I also will need to leave at 2:15, so that's my latest, but I think
Yeah,
we can finish it before. Yeah. Poor them, they have to now develop so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, let's give them some time. That part is closing. now. So, and it's a summary of everything that happened today from
Okay.
the head of the department.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume announcing tomorrow's activities, which involve employer interactions and networking in person and online. We will have a few
Yeah.
sessions virtually.
Yeah. I understand. Someone wanting to join. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do know that. I am trying to. I just texted the person who's streaming
Yeah.
that we cannot allow them in until we finish.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay.
All right, should we
Yeah.
bring them back?
Let's bring them back. So great, back again. How did it go? Was it very short the time? Did you get to anywhere? Do you feel it was very difficult or?
I'm like, maybe was not enough time for
Yeah.
everybody to speak, but
Can imagine. Okay. Yeah.
but I think I'm ready. Like I was ready before, I'm ready right now. I don't think I need like prepare. It's like I just want to feel the vibe. That's it.
You just want what? Sorry?
I just want to feel the vibe of being, live,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, yeah,
maybe, yeah, that's it.
great. Yeah, I mean, you can also share it if you want. I don't know if you
Okay,
think
yeah,
or yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be very concise. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm Guglielmo. I'm a 25 years old business student and business developer from Northern Italy.
Mm-hmm.
My expertise spans from the commercial to the directing department, back in from the cinematic sets, and I am trying and thrilled to start again my new career path towards consultancy. I actually speak two languages, of course, my native language Italian and English then, and I'm learning and leveraging my German language.
Great. Okay. The only thing I would miss here is like somehow a call to action in the end, like somehow to invite us to engage with you. That would be something that maybe you can still think about, like how do you invite someone to like, hey, so I'm interested in what you're doing, or I think that my skills could match like what you are currently offering. So could we have a chat, to develop this further or to speak together more about it? That's what I would add on top of it, but it's great. And I
Thank you
think
so
with
much.
elevator pitches, it's just the thing that you have to practice. Like it doesn't seem natural, like in the beginning, to no one, definitely. But I think the more you are somehow embedding it, or even parts, like in your daily life, the easier it will become, and the more natural it will also feel to say it. But that's a great, great starting point. Thanks so much for sharing, Guillermo. Very nice.
Thank you.
I know that we are running out of time, so I'm gonna be trying to do this like a little bit fast now. There's not much left. I just wanted to show you a way of how you can prepare in terms of interviews. Some call it the STAR method, others call it really like competency-based interviewing or behavior-based interviewing. It's something that you can use as a structure for yourself when you're preparing for interviews. It's really about understanding, having a look at the job description, or maybe even if you have been connecting already with a recruiter, understanding what are the soft skills that they're looking for, and thinking about your experience, where you actually have been using that. Okay. So if you're being asked open-ended questions, and usually it would go something like, hey, tell me about a situation when you had to work in a team that didn't really get well along with each other, So they want to understand, like, how can you actually foster maybe collaboration? Like, what is your reaction? So it's really to focus on a situation where you have been experiencing that. What did you do? Like, how did you react in that situation? What was your individual contribution, maybe to also make the situation better? Focus on the outcome and the results. So definitely present what happened, after you did what you did. And if you want to add on top of that, it could be, for example, your intention, like why did you react, how you did react, or maybe a learning experience, like what you took away from it. Sometimes in interviews, they will ask you as well for situations where you maybe have not been successful. So just to understand also how you're dealing and how resilient you are. So there you can really add also as a top up, let's say, why maybe you have been reacting as you did, or why you took the decision that you did, even if it was not successful. But once they understand, okay, your intentions are actually in alignment with the values that the company is looking for example, fairness, or being like collaborative, it will still be a good answer. But it just helps you to be a bit more structured and basically follow this scenario. And yeah, just make sure that you really point out also the things that you individually did. We often fall into this trap of saying, so we did when it was a project. They want to understand what you did, okay, and what were your responsibilities, what was the concrete outcome, and why you did what you did, basically. So that's just something I would keep in mind, and help yourself like as a little structure when you go to interviews. So as a last things, I mean, tips in terms of interview preparation, go and check out your interviews LinkedIn, connect with the people, use the strategy that we discussed when it comes to networking, know the company. I think Shelby, she said that in the beginning, be prepared to summarize like what the company does, understand the role. Like really, if you don't, like ask questions with the call in with the recruiter, not with the hiring manager. They can still explain it to you or even ask for more information if there's something unclear. Pitch yourself, like use the elevator method to really pitch yourself. If it's with the recruiter or the hiring manager, it doesn't matter. You can see it as a practice experience. Really, I always say, like, be authentic, be you. In the end, you want to also have a good feeling going to a company that you feel you can thrive in their environment. Show that you are curious, like ask follow-up questions, ask questions about the team, about the structure, about the culture, about your possibility to grow there. I think the most important thing is to start off shifting the mind from having the Spanish Inquisition kind of style interview to really seeing it as a purposeful conversation. Doesn't matter if it's recruiters or hiring managers, people want to have a meaningful conversation. So try also to bring value, to converse with them, to ask them questions, to bond, okay? And then again, most important thing, like follow up. Even if you don't hear anything from them right away, follow up with the recruiter, send thank you messages, like ask them what is the process, like how it's going and so on. Get some deadlines of when they're going to come back to you so you are more in control, okay? And ask for feedback to improve. Most important thing. Even if it doesn't work, maybe with the first interview, ask them. Ask what is the feedback, why, and what you can improve. You can learn from that, and that's going to be interesting for you to take away. Okay. So I think as last thing, I mean, the key important key to success is confidence. I put it there, and that really lies within preparation. So again, there's a lot of things that are in your control. I mentioned it beforehand when we started it, like maybe it's not the perception of others, but it's really about you taking control of the things that you can. Okay. So I wish you good luck and thank you so much for participating. Again, it was super, super nice to spend this time with you. Sorry for the brief ending, but thanks for all the questions and participating and for the energy. It was lovely to spend this time with you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Camila.
Wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye bye. Have a good end.
Hey,
Bye
the most
bye.
important thing is dedication.